What's up, everyone? Jake here from Wake and Jake TV, and in today's podcast episode, you might have seen her face on TikTok, Instagram. You've definitely seen her around. You're probably thinking, where did I see her from? She's went viral. She's an activist. There's so much about her. Ladies and gents, Mommy RN over here, or some call you Estee, Esther, however you know her, get to know her because you're going to get to know her. She's blowing up right now. She's going viral. People are doing reaction videos, and I'm like, yo, please take some time, get on my podcast. I know there's some juice.
You're always welcome, Jake. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm here for any questions you may have for me.
Yes, I'm over. I'm a little like, wow, over here. We're in her podcast studio. She does have her own podcast, which we're going to get into. Beautiful. You know, you see that dollar sign. I'm like, yo, I'm not coming to my shabby little office. I got to get to your location. So there's a couple questions that I want to ask you. A lot of people who love your content. I have so many friends that just share your videos all the time, and I just want to let them know that I'm doing this episode just so I could look cool a little bit, but I had to keep it on the low. So first question I have for you. Okay. How old are you?
I'm 33.
You're 33. You don't mind me asking, right?
No, not at all.
Okay, I don't want to seem... Okay, so you're 33 years old, and I want to ask you this. You're 33 years old. I don't see a lot of older women getting viral on TikTok, especially you're a female. You're a Bukharian female, correct?
Yes.
So you're within the culture, the Bukharian community. I'm sure you get judged, all that stuff. Why at 33 years old did you start getting viral now? What made you want to get into this at this age?
So believe it or not, it actually started by chance. The TikToks definitely started by chance. It started during COVID. I was really, really bored, and me and my husband were kind of fooling around a little bit, and I made a TikTok, went viral, and from there I was like, oh, this is fun, this is easy, and it kind of took a life form of its own. Now, did I expect it to be successful or anything like that? If I would have stopped, it probably would not have been, but I started looking at what other creators were doing, and I was just like, you know what, this is definitely something that I can do. It was fun. It was just for fun in the beginning. I have to say, the first few months, it was really, really fun. And then I kind of saw, people were asking me to do more skits. They were like, you are making so many people happy right now. We're all kind of like depressed. Everyone is home. Everyone's on lockdown. We have nothing to do. Keep going, keep at it. And I decided to stay consistent. I wanted to see where my growth would grow. And if I'm being honest with you, I've always thought my humor was a little quirky. Not for everyone. I'm very transparent with my humor. What I think is funny is what I post. Not everyone's gonna like what I post, but that's fine. But I was so shocked that so many people relate to the kind of comedy that I find hysterical. And I was just like, you know what? People like my stuff. And in the beginning, it was very much like, I don't think anyone's ever gonna like my stuff. And then when it became super relatable, I was like, wait a minute. I should have never doubted myself in the first place. So I decided, you know what? I'm not any worse than anyone else. I'm gonna keep going and see where it takes me.
So you broke through that barrier. You had that moment where you were like, you know what? I know I'm going to get judged. I know people are going to question my content. You question whether or not you could be yourself in front of the camera. And you did. And they liked it.
I'll tell you though, it's because I realized everyone always has something to say. You're not gonna make everyone happy, first of all. You're not gonna please everybody. What you think is funny, somebody, especially in today's world in 2021, is gonna get offended. So you have to just do what you like. Let me tell you something, Jake, just no matter what field you're in, there's always gonna be haters. There's always gonna be shit talkers. And there's one valuable thing that I learned. Nobody that's doing less than you is going to say anything to you, okay? So...
Like, for example, sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Like, for example, let's say you have some goals in life and someone that's never achieved your goals tells you, it's a waste of time, don't do it.
Exactly. It's like one of those things. This is what I wanted to say. If someone's really high up here, right? And people are down here, that person up here is like, yo, good for you, молодец, keep it going, you're amazing, keep going, keep going. That person's reaching this way. Once this person gets up here, guess what? This person starts to get nervous. And I've seen it everywhere. It's in huge businesses, it's on IG, and it's even in friendships. So I noticed that this is a common thing in people. They want you to do good. Most people want you to do good, but they don't want you doing better than them. And when I started really paying attention to that, I really started to notice that maybe people do have ulterior motives to what their opinion is formed based on what I'm doing. I don't need anybody's validation. I'm a grown-ass woman. I have 3 children. I don't need anybody's validation. If you love it, great. If you don't, trust me when I tell you, these people are not going to remember or care about you in 2 days.
I couldn't have said it any better. And honestly, my whole brand, everything that I do, it just follows the same principles that, you just have to be happy with what you're doing. And a lot of people, they're going to question you and they're going to doubt you.
They're not going to understand it.
And when they see you getting successful, they start to panic.
Yes, they do. Well, they start getting threatened, intimidated.
Let me ask you this. I'm sure you had friends growing up that questioned what you were doing. They wondered, what's up?
Oh yeah.
Where are those friends now? Like, are they still a part of your life? Are they, like, tell me more about those friends that I know some people probably, and I have these people in my life that tell me, why are you even wasting your time doing this? Like, but they don't understand what it does for you. Maybe it's a passion. I know that you have you have a history of musicians in your family, but before we get to that, what's up with the friends that you had in your life? Because I know once you reach a level of success, you start losing friends. You start seeing people's true colors. Tell me more about that.
Like I said, that relates to everything in life, whether it's with friends, and it's not just with friends. There's family members, there's friends. So for the most part, the people that had, opinions or whatever about what I was doing in the beginning, what are you doing? What are you, a clown? Детский сад, you have nothing better to do.
Man.
And that's totally fine.
Especially you're a female.
Yeah.
A Bukharian female.
Yeah. I've had older people tell me stuff too, like, what are you doing? Aren't you embarrassed? You're cursing. You have kids. They're going to see this tomorrow. These people did not even get a response from me. Honestly, I've had people run up to me and tell me, A, B, and C said this about you. What these people are saying about me is none of my business. I can care less, honestly. I know what I'm doing is right. I know what I'm doing, puts money in the bank. And if I'm being honest, I'll laugh all the way to the bank. I really don't care. People's opinions don't do anything to me. When you say friends, for me personally, I went through a lot in my life. Friends is a very loose term. My friends, for me right now, I have 1 or 2 really good, decent friends, but I don't keep anybody else around. I keep it very private, very low key. I used to be very, I had a huge group of friends back in high school. I used to be like dancing and all this stuff. People get married, people move on. You kind of fall off into your own. And I'm not like in bad blood with any of these people, but everyone just kind of finds their own corners. And even when those people do try to come back and try to pull you down, some of the people that like peaked in high school and have some shit to say every time they see you because you're doing good.
Yeah. How about the people who said, why are you acting like a clown? What do those people say now? Because I see you go into these celebrity events. There's so much success that you're having. They probably feel really stupid right now.
Honestly, I like to try to stay humble, but those same people are asking me to do ads for their businesses. So trust me when I tell you,
my God,
everything that I say, it comes to fruition later. If you stay consistent and you keep at it, the same people that were laughing, you're gonna end up having the last laugh.
Amen to that. Now let me ask you this: you said you had 3 kids.
Yes, I have 3 kids.
So you're a registered nurse. Mm-hmm. You're a content creator. Mm-hmm. You're a mother. Mm-hmm. If I just keep going, it's going to get overwhelming. How do you deal with all this? How do you have the time to do all this? I'm sure it's got to be a passion, because I don't know how much you're getting paid to do this, but I'm sure that there's a drive in you that keeps you doing this. How do you balance everything? How do you manage all this stuff?
The balance is very difficult. I'm not going to sit here and lie. You say like all these things like, how are you so successful? How are you doing this? Believe it or not, I'm just living in my process. I don't see myself making it even close to what I want, what I see myself doing in like 10, 15 years. But how I do it, I write everything out. If I'm being honest with you, there's no easy answer. You plan your whole day out and you do it every single day. I have a content schedule. I make sure that I post a certain number of times a week. My podcast, we record bi-weekly. My partner's a PA. He's very, very busy in his practice.
Wow.
I will say this because it matters to everything. If you want it, you will make time. Okay, there are so many people that I know that won't cook dinner every night after they come home from work. So they're like, what do you mean? I work too. This is all bullshit. It's all excuses. If you have a passion for something and you need to do it, then you do it. You have kids, believe me. Moms love their kids. They need to cook for their kids. They may not want to, but they're going to. Yeah. And kids, when you say it like that, it is very hard, and there is some support. My mom helps me, thank God. My husband helps me wherever he can, but it is very difficult. You have to sit it out. You have to write it down. You have to go late nights, as you can see.
Yeah. Man.
You do it when you have the time, and there are not enough hours in the day, but you have to just keep on grinding. You just have to keep going from early in the morning to late at night, whatever it takes.
I actually almost wasn't able to do this episode because I was a little late.
That's okay.
And she was like, yo, bro, what's up? You said 9:30. I'm like, yo, please, my apologies.
Please don't kill me.
Straight. So I see you're very punctual with your time.
Now I am, yeah,
you're
because
disciplined.
my time is worth a lot to me. My time is worth a lot more to me than what I used to value it for. So I used to look at time like, people will say like, oh, now I see that 1 hour of my time is no longer worth this much an hour, because for me, that time is a lot. So I'm very careful with my time because, like you said, I am a mom with kids. And while I do have my whole goals and aspirations, they come first.
Right.
They're priority. Family is priority. And there's the other stuff too that we're not even talking about, the household, being a wife, being a daughter, all these other things. And it's not just me. I think it's like all people. We all have these several titles that we have to make sure we make time for. And sometimes it can get very overwhelming. So I like to plan a schedule.
So as overwhelming as it gets, how do you still stay sane in everything that you're doing?
Because I call my own shots. So I do everything that I like to do. I feel like if I was, for example, working for a boss, or let's say I was making content for someone else and they were telling me, you have to do this, this, and this. If they would be controlling what I'm doing, I would not be happy doing it, and I would no longer be doing it. I do it when I want to. I do it if I want to. I do the content that I like, that I think people are gonna like. So, and everything is to the mood, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm very random. If you've seen my content, I've always thought that I wouldn't be successful because of how random I've been. Because some people, they say like, stick to one niche. Yeah. And my niche is comedy, but I've made that a little bit more broader because there's so many different things that I think are funny, from like the stuff that I grew up watching when I was a kid to stuff that I love as an adult. And I feel like I have my own little, my own split personalities. There's like a version of me that's like obsessed with rap that nobody will probably understand. My husband doesn't even
Guys, check this out. Check this out. I'm like, no way. What?
That's that album.
What?
I had no business listening to that album, by the way, when I was like in 6th grade, Get Rich or Die Trying. I don't know what I was thinking.
See,
I was like a hardened criminal in a past life.
You look at her and you don't know. She watches Get Rich or Die Trying. Yo, you are something else. Now let me ask you this. You do a bunch of stuff. I also know that you are an activist for substance abuse, which is very interesting because, a lot of people like to sweep it under the rug. I can't even mention how many people, I don't even want to mention how many people I lost this year to overdoses, family members and all this stuff. And a lot of people, they just hide it. They say it's a heart attack, and it doesn't bring awareness to the situation of, guys, don't take fentanyl and all this stuff. So you're an I seen you actually were with the mayor, Eric Adams. Mm-hmm. So you're in the field, you're putting in work. Tell me more about that.
So I am trying to be an activist for substance abuse. The mayor, Eric Adams, he is the new mayor of New York. We came to an event to support him because he is now our new mayor, and we kind of want to make sure that, it doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, whoever is the pilot of this plane, we want it to succeed. So we honestly came to show our support because you have to play politics. We want their support as well in terms of opening a facility. What I'm trying to do is raise awareness. It is called the Awareness Project. That is really what you just said. It's exactly what you just said. People are sweeping everything under the rug, and I felt like there's somebody that needs to stand up and say, guys, cut the shit. We all know what's going on, and we need, these people need help. Families need to be educated. This is not a joke. This is not a game. We cannot continue losing lives. 30 young people died this year, young men, 30. Yep. That is 30 lineages that have been stopped short. 30 generations that have been cut short. And it's very sad because I feel like in the social media world today, everything is very desensitized. Mm-hmm. You see an RIP post and everyone's like, oh my God, rest in peace. And yes, it's tragic. 2 days later, nobody's talking about it anymore.
That's a fact.
What happened to that shit? It's because of the desensitization. I see it everywhere. I've seen a video of somebody get beheaded like 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Can I tell you, I could barely watch it. I was cringing. But I've seen a few more videos since then, and I can tell you right now that I'll probably be able to watch a full one now without cringing. Why? Because you get desensitized to it. our community became desensitized to all these overdoses. They just kind of, out of sight, out of mind. It's like the trafficking problem, the human trafficking problem in the United States.
Right.
It is huge. It is happening. 1 in 3, kids is getting trafficked. Nobody's talking about it. You're not hearing it on mainstream. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. It's painful. Everybody's afraid of it. Nobody wants it to happen to them. So what are we going to do? Human nature, we're going to ignore it. I got involved in this. Yuchen is really the one, and he's a musician in our community. Mm-hmm. Yuchen is really the one. He's been doing this for 15 years. I'm not going to take any credit for what is going on. I am here to help him. I'm here to bring a very powerful, loud voice. Because I have a platform, I decided that, I'm going to use my platform for something part-time good, because I have a far reach, and there's a lot of millennials who, like me and you, and some of them are already parents. They want to apply this to their children. They're the ones that are like, we want this to end with us. We want to break these generational curses. Enough is enough. They're terrified for their children. And this problem is becoming worse and worse. COVID has made it 10,000 times worse. So I'm very passionate about the advocacy. I want to help him. We want to open a facility. And the point of the facility is to have these people come. They have somewhere to come to support each other, rather than hide in secrecy and try to go and do this by themselves and absolutely fail. 99% of people that try to do this by ththemselves fail. They need help, they need support. It takes an entire village. It's like raising a child. So this is a huge problem. You said you lost people yourself.
Oh yeah, and they say, oh yeah, he had a heart attack.
Listen, people are scared. That's why we're doing this. I understand people's reasoning for lying. I get it. I'm not heartless, and I'm not one to rip off the Band-Aid, and I know you're not too.
It's a reputation thing. You don't want your family to look like, oh, we had a drug addict in our family.
It's not even about that. It's like they're worried about the future. What will A, B, and C say? How will I marry my other children? Right, and I know that that's a big one. We can't even sit here and say that, like, our own parents don't care about image.
Of course. Oh, don't get me started.
It's definitely a big one. It's definitely a big one. That was one of the big things that I dealt with TikTok. When I came out, believe it or not, I had a conversation with people in the family. Like, are you sure you want to do this? You're saying some things that may be inappropriate. People are not going to get the right idea. But you know what? If people really know you don't have ill intent, the right people will support you. And I really don't feel like what I'm doing is provocative or bad. So it's really to the degree of what you're doing. Of course, if I'm going to start jumping off stripper poles, people are going to have something to say. That's not what my intent is. My intent is to make people laugh.
Right, you have great content.
Relatable.
I need to ask you a question, a random question. I try to make these videos all the time. How do you do it? How do you get it on point? How do you remember it? How do you say it? How do you get all the guys, watch her videos. It's on point.
I have a lot of... So, I'm going to be really honest with you. This is the one time I'm going to say, like, something came easier to me. I have a hard time with the editing because I'm not edit savvy. That's something I had to self-teach myself, and I'm still working on it. It's still a process, especially through the iPhone. But I am good at lip syncing. I've kind of always had a thing for these movies that I do. Yep. I think TikTok came after the fact that I was already like this. So when I discovered TikTok during COVID, and mind you, when I discovered this, I had my Facebook off for already 2-3 years. I was off social media because I was busy working. I had my kids, 2 kids back to back. I decided I can't be on social media. I have 2 toddlers. At that time, it was a toddler and a newborn. So I took away social media. It was great. I had a great break. But COVID hit and I was so bored. And when I downloaded it, I was like, this is so easy. And I started making videos and I had people reach out like, how the hell are you memorizing these lines? And I'm like, it's not that hard, guys. Like, I just have a good ear. So
it's hard.
I do come from a musical background and I do have an insane memory. So those 2 things really help me.
So you have a musical background in terms of?
My grandmother was a very famous singer from Russia. Her name was Barnois Khakova. And she was an Israel famous singer. She was a famous singer in Uzbekistan.
Wow.
She was... she had the band that Avrom Tomasa was in.
Wow. And so she's the OG.
She is one of the big OGs. Yeah, exactly. When you think about OGs, she's up there. I'm very proud to say that I'm her granddaughter. She leaves back an amazing legacy. 5 incredible children. My mother sings. Her sisters in Khanda in Israel. Wow. So when I did bring this out at 33 years old, they were all very pleasantly surprised. They're like, oh my God, it lives through you. So
that's amazing.
They were very happy. Especially my mom, had no clue. She's like, I didn't know you can even act. I'm like, I didn't know I can act.
Yo.
I guess I can.
Guys, check out her videos. Her acting is on point. You definitely are a natural, 100%. You could see when someone's struggling and you look at someone's videos and you're like, cringe. Your videos are good. That's why I honestly, truly enjoy your content.
Thank you so much.
That's why I had to have this podcast episode. I'm like a little kid in a candy store right now, where I'm like, yo, just give me your secrets. What's up? I'm trying to get viral.
You will go viral. Stay consistent.
Now, let me ask you, what sparked your confidence to get you to this level of fame? I see that you are a network with Greg Yuna, which is also another Bukharian, very popular Bukharian. How did you get to this level of fame? I know there's probably a video you released, and from there it just went, and then you were like, wow, this is fun, this is amazing, it's going on the right path. Maybe I should take this a little bit further. And then obviously consistency and discipline. So what was that tipping point that got you to this level of success? Because I see people are doing reaction videos and all that stuff. Yeah. That is amazing.
So it is very humbling, and I'm very flattered. I've actually never expected this much attention. When it comes to Greg Yuna, he is someone I personally admire. I really, really love his hustle. We only met recently. I called him out during one of my lives. Just a little backstory on Greg Yuna. I was just like, listen, I need someone that's in the game to kind of help me bring this to light, maybe come support the fundraiser. A bunch of people told him about it. He reached out the next morning.
Wow.
I have so much respect for him. 7 o'clock in the morning, I got a text. Hi, Estee. And that was it. And we became friends. He's going to help the fundraiser. He's going to sponsor. He's going to be there. He threw a party the other day, a holiday party. Of course, I supported my new friend. I had no problem going. It was great.
Awesome.
He's a great guy. He is someone, like I said, I admire. He's up there. And you know what? I really love his hustle. His drive is one of the biggest things I admire. He's running around and doing so many different projects. And that's why I relate to that so much, because he's unstoppable and good for him. He's consistent. He's riding his wave. So props to him on that. The question was confidence. Yes. So to be honest with you, it kind of gets a little dark as to where that confidence came from. I feel like I was always kind of like an extrovert. In high school, there was dancing. I was always very outspoken. Unfortunately, when I had personal family problems, my father passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you so much. Something in me kind of shifted. I went through it it was very difficult for me. I took it very hard. I was very close to him. I was a daddy's girl. And something shifted in me that I was very angry at first. I felt some type of way that I felt like nobody that I wanted to be there for me really like showed up. Like whether it was at the funeral or like a quick phone call. And it was a very, very painful lesson to learn. Wow. I want to reiterate this, and I'm very open about it for a reason, because whoever has ever gone through this, it is such a painful thing to go through. When you are genuinely going through it, your lowest point, first of all, a few things happen. The people that have it out for you actually enjoy your grief. Okay? They kind of just show up and like, they ask what's going on as if they care, but really they're just trying to suck information out of you, and you can see it. It's like, it makes them happy that you're down, which is really, really sad that people have to be like that, but whatever, that's human nature, and those are miserable people that do that.
I agree.
But the other aspect of it, when I did finish being angry, it was because I was like, yo, these people don't owe me anything. I don't know why I had this expectation that people are supposed to be there for me. Yes, I am a great friend. I personally would have been there for them in a heartbeat like this. And I'm not even like calling any specific people out. This is just how I felt in that time, that people didn't support the way I thought ever. Like, it happened. Everyone was just like, oh my God, our condolences. And they went about their day. Rightfully so, because this happened to me and my family. This didn't happen to anybody else. And I really started self-reflecting, and something shifted. Something shifted where I was just like, you know what? Why have I been so scared and caring about what all these people think about me when they don't even care about me? And that was a very big light bulb moment that made me realize, you know what? You need to focus on you, care about yourself. You have your circle. Your husband's your best friend and your kids are your best friends. Your family, that's all you have. You have that small circle of friends that are genuinely down for you. But after that, I really realized, yo, you know what? You don't like it. You're going to laugh at it. That's your freaking problem. I'm going to still do me. And I really genuinely live by that now, as my entire mindset changed. There's people that I've spoken to after my father passed away that knew me from like high school, and they're like, yo, you completely changed. And I'm like, I like to think that I'm still the same. I've just gotten a little bit wiser. That's really all I can say on that. There's nothing that happened except life happens to you, and it makes you different. So you're either strong and you prevail, or life kicks you and you stay down. And I decided that I wasn't going to stay down.
Wow. That sounds kind of traumatizing.
It was a little traumatizing. If I'm being honest, that's why I say it took a little bit of a dark corner to go it. But I personally feel that that's why people have to hit rock bottom before they really, really do better. Yeah. Because that struggle is what helps you start to hustle even harder. And I really believe that. Why do you think the kids in this generation, they are not prepared for this world because they are afraid of struggle. They don't know what struggle is. They don't know what hard work is. And I'm not saying all of them. Don't fucking attack me in the comments. I'm saying
no, all of them.
Most people right now don't have the same values that immigrants, for example, have instilled in them.
Those hardworking
values, believe it or not, they are not that common. They are more common, more so amongst immigrants, because immigration does that to you. That is a hard life. It knocks you down. It slaps you in your face.
Of course.
And that is only something that I really started appreciating in my older days. I had no idea, what our parents were going through. So
yeah, now that I got older, I'm like, you know what? I understand that, my parents came to America with not much.
Not much.
So I can't really blame them. Right. And growing up, I didn't understand that. Now I do. That's why I thank my parents. I try to spoil my parents as much as I can.
Nice.
Back then, I'm like, Ma, stop calling me.
And now it's like,
leave me alone. Yeah, I'm like, hey, Ma, how you doing? How's everything?
Stop calling me.
Right, Ma, you drank water? Yeah. Yes, I'm busy. Don't call me. No, I'm just kidding. My mom loved me. So let me ask you. So who were you before all this? Who was Mommy RN? Who's Estee before all of this? So obviously you said, you had all these friends and you were popular and you were dancing and all these creatives. So who were you before we knew you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. To be honest with you, people that knew me before can attest, I've genuinely stayed exactly the same. I have the same personality, same quirky, random nonsense. I really try... I'm very humbled and I really try to stay low key. I don't feel like I am, I don't have my nose in the air or anything like that. I think it's great that people love what I'm doing. I'm going to continue doing it. If it takes me somewhere, great. If it doesn't, whatever.
And you don't limit yourself. I see you don't limit yourself.
I don't think anyone should. I think you should just do what makes you happy. And if there's a way to make it, I like to say make it, you have to try it. At least you won't win if you don't try. You always fail. And a big influencer for me, I have to say it, is Gary Vee, because he really, really taught me, fuck what everybody else thinks. Execute.
That's literally what he would say.
Yeah. Honestly, bro. Right. Yeah, that's.
Bro, you're a fucking baby. What do you like?
Oh yeah, he's he'll see you when you're 85 years old and he'll bro, do that startup right now. No, he's he's great. So Gary Vee, 2 things I learned from him: execute, and don't care what anybody else says.
Right.
And it's true, and it relates to everybody and everything. You're 40 years old and you want to go back to school for something, and you're thinking, it's only 3. It's 3 whole years. It's only 3 years. That's how you have to look at that. Yep. And those years fly. So don't stand in your own way and just get it done.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
That is a good question. That road for me is like an open abyss. I see so much for myself and I just want to keep going. I want to create a bigger version of myself, but I want to take the advocacy to the next level. I am going to still continue the TikTok, that is a side hustle, but I want to focus my platform for something very, very important. Right. In 5 years, I see myself running a state-of-the-art substance abuse facility and having several of them. We were starting with an outpatient one, and I really want to bring this to the community. Really badly. I think we need it more than anybody can even imagine, because since I've gotten involved with Johan's project and I've spent time with him and I've listened to these phone calls and these pleads, you guys have no idea how bad it is out there. I'm not even kidding. It's so bad and it's so hush-hush, and he is one man and he's been doing this from a small non-for-profit. And the reason why he hasn't been as successful as he could be, because he's gotten all of these kids clean, but they come back to the hood and they all relapse. And the reason for that is because there's very few resources for them. There's very little support, if none. They feel shame, they feel rejection, they hide, and they relapse until they die. That's really, really what happens. Their family is ashamed. They don't want to show their face. They don't want to ask for help. And it's a very sad thing, because these people need rehabilitation. They don't need punishment.
And I'll be honest with you, if a lot of people understood that, all right, maybe my friend and a couple friends that I had, they died of overdoses, it might scare them into not taking another pill.
They need to be educated.
There's no awareness. No one's actually coming out and saying, yo, your good friend died of an overdose. He didn't die of a heart attack. And maybe it will scare them into not taking that pill.
But you see, it's complicated. Me and you, we can actually shoot the shit and be honest about it.
Exactly.
And say, listen, it is what it is, but you have to understand, and I know you do understand, but we have to understand that we are not going to change the mentality of the older generation, and I am prepared for that. It's just like trying to change your in-laws, for example, right? Or to try to change your mom and dad's perspective on things. You're not. They grew up a certain way. Right. They're going to continuously, I'm sure, the Soviet mindset,
right, the Soviet mentality.
They save everything, right? Vybrasovit something is a grech. They reuse everything. That is a survival instinct. They were traumatized. They were at some point If you didn't go online for bread, you didn't get bread this week. So they were very careful.
That's a fact.
You are not going to force people like that in 2021 to throw out this, throw out that. Like, my mom is still amazed at diapers. One-time use. She's like, I can't wrap my head around it. And we're here for 25 years, more, almost 30.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about, is those things, you know, they make us for who they are. I'm not going to try to change the older generation, but I sure as hell am going to try to break the generational curses. And our generation needs to say, cut the shit and talk to our kids. That's really what I want to do. I'm not going to change the older generations, and I'm not trying to. We really want to spread awareness and educate the parents, because at this point, we're going to probably still lose more than we save, but at least we'll be able to prevent. And that is the best thing that we can do.
That's a very noble thing that you're doing, because a lot of people, they wouldn't use their platform to build this awareness. And the fact that you're very, you know, into it and committed to doing it, you know, thank you for your service and everything that you're doing. You know, I definitely, you know, aspire to let people know the truths about what's going on. As much as it'll make me look bad, you know, at least you're going to save a life or two. And I think that's very important. Like, I just even recently did a video of a breathing exercise. And yeah, I might look stupid. 4 seconds here, 7 seconds here. But I don't care. I'm going to give myself up just to make sure that,
you know, you might look stupid to 3 or 4 people, but you also maybe save someone from having a panic attack too.
Exactly. And I think that's more important. A lot of people, they're so infatuated with what people are going to think. But in reality, you know, I don't want to be a fatalist, but this is not going to be forever. It's our duty to help the people around us, you know, 100%. Especially during our ancestral days. It was more about love and community. Now it's just all competition and reputation, and it's not working.
It's not. It's the era of social media too. We had Avi Benjamin at my podcast this week. It was a great podcast, and we talked about this as well. We talked about it at length. Social media is really the culprit for a lot of these problems. Everyone thinks that everyone's chilling. Everyone's marriage is perfect. Everyone's partying every weekend. Everyone's in Miami and Greece, and everyone's in the Galapagos Islands on the weekends. It's not. That's not the way life is. And because it's portrayed like that, people get depressed, people get anxious, and they get more jealous, and they start to compete, and they start looking at what everybody else around them has on their plate instead of focusing on their own goals. And by the way, Instagram and all these things, they show everything as if it happens overnight. It does not. You have to work hard at everything that you do. This entire podcast room, we did this from scratch. We bought the equipment from scratch. We looked up the equipment that we needed from scratch. I'm not, we weren't podcasters, me and Artem, before we started the podcast. Mm-hmm. And I think that people don't really understand that things aren't just given to you. I have some people like, wow, you're so lucky. What do you fucking mean lucky? Lucky with what? I work for everything that I have.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
It's not even about that. I don't even want acknowledgement. It's just people's, they don't see how much it takes to do something, and I'm not even halfway where I want to be. I appreciate you thinking I'm in such a high level, but this is really like I'm still down here. In my mentality, I'm still down here. There's so much more left to learn.
So humbled, this one.
No, I'm serious. There's so much to learn. There really is. There's so much to learn about life, about everything. And I'm definitely, even in the substance abuse stuff, I have a lot to learn. This is not a small project. Some people are like, you don't know what you're getting yourselves into. You don't know this, you don't know that. I know that I'm trying to do something, and people like you are telling me you don't know this, you don't know that. If you're gonna come at me with a solution or an alternative. Don't come at me with your nonsense opinions. And that's my takeaway, honestly, for anything that you do. You're gonna hear all kinds of shit, and you're gonna hear so many opinions that you just don't want to. You just nod your head, you smile, you take it with grace, and you go about your own way. That's really all you can do.
And some people don't understand.
They're not going to, and that's okay.
And a lot of people, they'll question what you're doing, but at the end of the day, those people, they lie to themselves too.
That's okay.
I'm
okay with that. I really don't.
let me stop. We're about to start it. All right. So let me ask you this.
Sure.
Before we end this, I want to know what are your goals with what you're doing, in a sense of, I see that you have, look, guys, check this out. This is amazing. Look, swivelly chair and all. I'm just over here, just like legs out. This is an amazing podcast room. So the work she puts in, this came out of your own pocket, I could imagine, and you're serving a greater purpose, which is amazing. I love the purpose that you're serving, and your content, it's it's so refreshing to see somebody, especially a female in the Bahrain community, that knows she's going to get judged. She knows there's going to be all these haters and people talking all this blah, blah, blah stuff. And they're going to say, why are you wasting your time? You're a mother. You work. What are you doing? This and that. How much money do you make? And then they start looking at your pocket watching and all that stuff. And you're obviously serving a greater purpose. You're serving your passion and your purpose in life, which is amazing. So obviously there's so much that you could give to this world, so many gems you could drop. Tell me more before we go about your podcast. Tell me more about your podcast. What do you do on your podcast? What do you cover? And just whatever you'd like to say to anyone watching, the floor is yours.
Sure. So it's called The Hard Truth. It's literally something just like what me and Jake are doing right now. We sit down, me and my partner, and we invite guests onto our show. Right now we are doing a very transparent segment on substance awareness, as I just mentioned. And the podcast is called The Hard Truth for a reason. We're going to be talking about things that people don't really necessarily want to hear. It's, everything. What's going on in the world today, from politics to how are we raising our kids differently? It's, and we're not there yet in the sense of we just started, we lifted off the ground maybe a few months ago. But our last episode was great. That's the tone that we want to set. We constantly want to have guests over. I'm hoping to have more, licensed professionals be joining. If you have something of substance that you want to speak about, feel free to give me a DM and maybe we'll have you on the show. But it's really to have creatable content for everyday people. And, you see journalism today. It's not journalism anymore. And we don't want it to be, we're not journalists, but this is us giving our take on the world because we feel like we have a really good spin on it. We're immigrants. We're both medically licensed professionals, but we both also grew up here. So I feel like me and him both have this really great point of view because growing up here within millennials and Gen Z and all that, but also very, very much traditional with our old customs and trying to blend that together and trying to understand our crazy world a little bit better. That is what our podcast is about. And really for people to just tune in and realize they're not alone. We feel, very much similar to what is happening, whether it's in the community or out in the world today. And we want to share that with people.
And I urge you all to definitely listen to the podcast. I love the podcast. Maybe if you guys petition to get an episode of me on the podcast, I would love that.
We would love to have you.
And by the way, she knows what tea is good tea. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, I make good tea. I'm not going to lie. That's something I'm not.
Amazing tea. I walked in, I'm like, yo. I felt important. But otherwise, thank you again. Let everyone know where they can follow you. Check out your content. Check out your podcast. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So please join me on the podcast. Please subscribe. It's on YouTube. It is called The Hard Truth. My IG page and TikTok, MommyRN88. My handles are the same all around. Would love to have you guys. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Jake, for having me. I really, really appreciate it. Honestly,
thank you.
Very refreshing conversation, and you're amazing.
Thank you.
And I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
I love the spinning. I think I wanna get one of these. I just told him I want to get one. I want to be able to take my TikTok to the world.
Hey, you want to trade? I'll take the podcast room. You can have the camera. Right. Well, again, thank you again, Estee, for coming on. MommyRN88. Follow her. You're going to see her anyway, so get with it or just get with it. Thanks again for tuning in. Catch you next time.